Most Canadians don't think about their tea. It's just there, in the cupboard, in the office kitchen, in the hotel room. Drop the bag, pour water, move on. And that's exactly why tea is one of the easiest products to never question. Because when something feels traditional, it feels automatically clean. But once you start reading labels and comparing sourcing details, you realize something. Some tea is built around leaves. Some tea is built around margins. Today we're breaking down 7 Canadian tea brands worth rethinking and 2 that treat tea like tea. If you care about what goes into your cup, subscribe. Let's start with the most familiar box on Canadian shelves. Red Rose has been a household staple in Canada for decades. It's affordable. It's widely available. It tastes consistent every time. And consistency is exactly what it's engineered for. Red Rose primarily uses finely cut black tea, commonly referred to as fannings, or tea dust, which brews quickly and produces a strong color. That's convenient, especially if you add milk or sugar. What most people don't realize is that tea grading is based on leaf size after processing, not necessarily overall quality. But smaller particles oxidize faster and lose aromatic compounds more quickly during storage. When tea sits in distribution warehouses for months, those delicate flavor compounds degrade. That's why mass-market tea often tastes stronger but flatter. If freshness matters to you, leaf size and packaging type matter more than most consumers think. But finely cut tea generally sacrifices complexity. Larger whole leaves retain more nuanced flavor and aroma. Another consideration: retail boxes do not typically provide detailed origin breakdowns or harvest information. The tea is blended for uniform taste, not regional expression. It's not unsafe, it's just industrial. As an occasional cup, fine. As your daily tea for years, there are better options. Lipton is one of the most globally recognized tea brands. In Canada, it's in grocery stores, hotels, cafeterias, and office kitchens. Lipton does participate in sustainability programs, including Rainforest Alliance certification for certain products. That's a positive. It's also worth noting that certification programs, while positive, don't automatically mean high-grade leaf. Certifications typically focus on farming practices and labor standards, not necessarily flavor complexity or harvest timing. So a tea can be certified and still be industrially blended for mass appeal. Those are 2 separate conversations. But on the consumer side, Lipton Yellow Label is typically a large-scale blended black tea made from small particle grades, designed for speed and consistency. You won't usually find harvest dates, specific estates, or detailed sourcing transparency on the box. Again, it's not about danger, it's about quality level. The smaller the tea particles, the faster the extraction, and often the more bitterness. Lipton is engineered for reliability at massive scale. If that's what you want, it delivers. If you want more clarity in your cup, you'll need to look elsewhere. Tetley is one of Canada's top-selling tea brands, and like the others in this category, it's built around predictability. Tetley tea bags commonly contain finely cut black tea designed to brew strong and fast. It's practical for busy mornings, especially if you add milk. Tetley also publishes corporate sustainability commitments. However, most consumer packaging does not provide detailed farm-level sourcing or lot-specific information. The bigger issue isn't safety, it's expectation. Mass-market tea often tastes flat because it's blended to avoid standing out. Tea can be complex, bright, malty, floral. But when the goal is to taste the same in every province, complexity gets toned down. Another subtle factor is packaging format. Standard paper tea bags allow more airflow compared to individually wrapped sachets or airtight tins. Oxygen exposure accelerates flavor loss over time, so by the time you open the box, the tea may already be months past peak aroma, even though it's technically within shelf life. Shelf life and peak freshness are not the same thing. Tetley is consistent, it's just not transparent in a way specialty tea drinkers may prefer. President's Choice has strong brand trust in Canada, and that trust extends to their tea aisle. But when you look at some of the flavored or herbal blends, you'll often see natural flavor listed in the ingredients. Natural flavor is a legally regulated term, but it does not disclose the exact source components. It can be derived from plant or animal sources and may involve processing steps that aren't detailed on the label. That doesn't mean artificial. It does mean vague. If you're drinking tea daily and aiming for minimal ingredients, vague flavor labeling is worth noticing. Herbal teas can also vary widely in potency depending on ingredient composition. The key point: read the ingredient list carefully. Simple tea should look simple. When the label gets longer and less specific, that's a signal. This one requires nuance. Traditional medicinals uses organic herbs and clearly lists ingredients. That's positive. However, several of their blends are formulated for specific physiological effects, such as Smooth Move, which contains senna leaf. Senna is a stimulant laxative. It is effective and widely used in short-term digestive support, but it is not recommended for long-term daily use, unless directed by a healthcare professional. The concern isn't deception, it's a misunderstanding. Many consumers interpret herbal tea as something gentle and universally safe for daily use. But some medicinal herbs have active effects on the body. If you're intentionally using these blends occasionally, that's different. Just don't treat functional herbal teas like everyday hydration without reading the label. David's Tea is a Canadian-founded brand known for creative flavors and colorful branding. And to be fair, they offer loose-leaf options and clearly list ingredients. The issue isn't transparency, it's the formulation direction. Many of their popular blends contain flavorings, sweetened fruit pieces, or candy inclusions. These are clearly disclosed, but they shift the product away from traditional tea and toward novelty beverage. There's nothing wrong with dessert-style tea occasionally, but when tea tastes like birthday cake or cotton candy, it's functioning more like a treat than a daily staple. If your goal is leaf quality and simplicity, heavily flavored blends aren't ideal as your primary tea source. There's also the pricing structure. Specialty flavored blends often command premium pricing despite using a smaller percentage of actual tea leaf compared to fruit pieces or flavor inclusions. You're often paying for creativity and branding rather than leaf sourcing depth. That doesn't make it bad. It just clarifies what you're buying. Just don't confuse them with classic tea. Convenience changed tea habits just like it changed coffee. Tea K-cups prioritize speed. Insert pod. Press button. Done. But tea quality depends heavily on two variables: water temperature and steep time. Different teas require different conditions. Green tea prefers lower temperatures. Black tea tolerates higher heat. With pods, you lose control. Additionally, most pods contain finely cut tea to allow quick extraction under machine pressure. Then there's the packaging consideration. Pods involve plastic exposure during hot water brewing, something some consumers prefer to avoid. Again, not alarmism, just awareness. Tea is traditionally one of the simplest beverages on earth. Pods industrialize that simplicity. And when simplicity gets engineered, quality often shifts. The goal isn't to eliminate tea from your routine. It's to upgrade the default. Here are two brands that approach tea differently. Genuine Tea focuses on whole leaf tea and emphasizes direct sourcing relationships. Whole leaves retain more structural integrity, which means better flavor complexity and less bitterness. The brand provides more detailed tea descriptions and sourcing context compared to most grocery store brands. Loose leaf also gives you control over steep time and strength. More control equals better outcomes. If you want tea that tastes like leaves instead of generic tea flavor, this is a solid option. 4 O'Clock is a Quebec-based tea brand with a strong focus on organic certification and ingredient clarity. Many of their blends avoid vague flavoring language and clearly list components. They also offer straightforward single-ingredient teas, black, green, chamomile, without turning everything into novelty flavor. It's not a hyper-specialty boutique brand, but it leans toward transparency over marketing gimmicks. And that matters. Here's the real takeaway. Most tea sold in Canada is safe. The bigger issue isn't danger, it's dilution. Mass market tea is built around cost control, consistency, and convenience. That's not inherently bad. But if tea is something you drink every single day, upgrading even slightly makes a difference. Choose single-ingredient blends over flavor-engineered ones. Read herbal labels carefully. Small changes in daily habits compound, and tea, at its best, is simple. Water, leaves, time. If this breakdown helped, like the video, subscribe, and tell me what Canadian product you want reviewed next. See you in the next one.